All right, how many of you actually missed that music, huh? You probably want me to still play it, right? So, I know I wasn't supposed to be streaming until next year, right? I get it. All right, I kind of lied, but then this information came out, and it came out yesterday from, as you see, Staysafe, and and I don't have time to make a video of it because I'm pouring so much work into my own videos for Burning Crusade, and you guys feel like there needs to be a little music in the background. Anyways, I'll get to that. But then Staysafe, he there's a link to his video below that came out yesterday, and he talked about the release date, and it's happening a lot sooner than we really expected, I think. And yeah, I gotta put some music on in the background because just having me here is just kind of weird, right? Let me fix that. By the way, how is everybody doing? Did everybody have a good Christmas? So this video, this is going to act like my reaction to it, my comments about it. And now I can't find there we go. Let's get some Burning Crusade music going, right? Let's do that. And then I'm gonna have to turn it down so that we can actually hear me. All right, let's open that up. And all right, well, it's a little loud. Okay, there. I think that's probably pretty good, right? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, there. Yeah, so anyways, what I was saying. So this is coming out a lot sooner than I think a lot of us thought. I think we were thinking maybe 2021 summertime, like June, July kind of thing. I was actually hoping, if this turns out to be true, if this all turns out to be true, I was actually hoping it would be much later. This is a little soon for me. And I get it. I get it. I get that it's like 5 months and people are going to be tired of Naxxramas. I get that. But I think there needs to be a much bigger build-up. In my opinion, in my most humble opinion. It's actually too loud even for me. But there we go. Basically, I think when you have Shadowlands out, and I think that when you have Phase 6 out, we see the drop off now with Phase 6 Classic, and we see Shadowlands. All the hype right now is Shadowlands, and it's turning out to be pretty damn good, right? I'm hearing, I'm not personally playing retail or Shadowlands. I'm not doing it. My retail days are done. But I'm hearing a lot of great things, a lot of fantastic things about it. I was intrigued. I was like, oh, maybe I should jump into it, maybe not. But there's a lot of hype there. And we start to see Classic start to drop off a little bit. There's still a ton of people playing Classic. Don't get me wrong. It's not like dead servers or anything. But it's very similar to me, like I'm a big auto racing fan. Those of you who have watched my streams, who have been following me, you guys know I'm a big auto racing fan. And one of the things that has been happening is that you start getting more races during the season, right? So the season used to start in March, but then, and I'm talking Formula One, and then it used to end September. And then you would have from the end of September all the way to March again. So you'd have like another 6 months, and it builds up your excitement. You start hearing, about winter testing and so forth. And then it gets into the season, and the season matters, right? You're hyped for it. I feel like the same thing needs to happen with Burning Crusade. Burning Crusade is major hype. Okay, we all love Classic. Classic was, the hype was through the roof, right? TBC will do the same thing, and can you imagine when, and I know they're going to do it, can you imagine when they say Classic Wrath of the Lich King? Can you imagine when they say that the hype on that one, right? That's supposedly the pinnacle. My opinion, TBC is the pinnacle, but most people would agree that Wrath was the pinnacle of World of Warcraft. So with Shadowlands out right now, my opinion, I think they need to back off a little bit. Back off a little bit. Let's, you know what? Don't have TBC come out until what? August? Yeah. Yeah, have it come out in August or something. You know, a full 2 years. Let a full 2 years go by. And let that hype build. Let people enjoy Shadowlands. Why do you want to pull people from Shadowlands into Burning Crusade? That doesn't make much sense to me in a business decision sort of thing, right? I mean, would you guys agree? Now, there was some interesting stuff that came out with that video, and I'm gonna turn it on here, and I'm gonna kind of comment on some of the things he said. So let me pause this background music here for a moment. And so this is the video, and please, if you're watching this video for the first time here, please go over to it, give him some views, give him a like. Okay, so here's what he had to say, and I'm going to be kind of stopping and going back and forth. Okay.
What is up, guys? Staysafe here. So I recently came into some information regarding the release timeline of Classic WoW TBC that I figured I would share today in this video. Now, it's very interesting because I've seen this information posted on a Classic WoW fan forum in the last week or so. It's been DM'd to me as well on Discord, and I ran a confirmation by who I would consider to be a very trusted source. I asked him about it, and he confirmed it as well. Now, I'm always super cautious with doing content like this, but I actually do genuinely think that this leak is right on the money based on the forum post I just talked about, the trustworthy source I confirmed it by, and by posts like this on Nano's Twitter here suggesting the leak that we're going to be talking about today. And Nano's a trustworthy guy himself. Now, it seems like this information is starting to float around based off all this stuff, so I figured I'd talk about it. But as always, there is a chance that this isn't true, so use your own judgment and come to your own conclusions. And of course, let me know down below what you think, and make sure to follow and like the video while you're there. So with all that being said, let's take a look at the leak. So here's the information here, here's the leak. Exactly as it was sent to me, and exactly as I saw it posted on the Classic WoW fan forum. Same exact wording, same exact punctuation, so it might have been the same person, but anyway, TBC beta, mid-February. TBC 2.0 pre-patch, earmarked for April 13th and 14th US/EU. TBC release date, earmarked for May 4th, global release, in parentheses, meaning May 3rd, 6 p.m. US Eastern time zone. So here are my general thoughts on this timeline before we start really breaking this down. Honestly, this timeline is much faster than I had personally expected. I was sort of thinking we'd be playing TBC in June or July 2021, but I'm really happy to see that this is the timeline if this leak ends up being true and confirmed, which I guess we'll know in February if they follow through with this stuff. This timeline means that there will be almost exactly 5 months between Classic WoW Naxxramas release date and Classic TBC launch date. This is honestly a perfect amount of time for a multitude of reasons. Phase 6 isn't exactly the most popular Classic WoW phase, and I doubt anyone wants to be stuck in Phase 6 for potentially 7+ months, right?
Okay, so what he's talking about there is specifically from a classic example for the classic players, right? It's not taking any consideration into those that are playing Shadowlands or retail. Sean, you say, I think it's more trying to stop the drop-off of Shadowlands. There is always a drop-off after a new expansion, and I guess Blizzard is looking at the early TBC launch and insurance in sub numbers. I think that absolutely could be one of the things that they are trying to do. It's my opinion that this is even too early for that. You're always going to have a spike And he actually goes into the spikes in this video of interest and whatnot. So, Sean, you may be onto something. And I think that is probably why they're doing it. And Staysafe here is talking strictly from players who just play Classic. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. Players who just play Classic are going to have 5 months and then, boom, they're in TBC. I'm trying to look at it as more of it's all the same crowd, right? So, yes, if you look at it just Classic, okay, 5 months, maybe 6. But if this is accurate, you're looking at about 5 months. And then you have TBC. That feels good, right? That does feel good. That gives you, if your guild is already in Naxxramas and farming that gear, that feels pretty darn good. That is a long time to be getting your full tier 6 sets or whatever it is that you want to do. And eventually you'd start being like, okay, I'm a little tired of this. And maybe you start playing Shadowlands. I don't know. But trash guy's picking up. So I'm trying to look at it as the whole picture, right? You got Shadowlands players and you got Classic players, and from the business model, and then also the hype model. Hype is like, and I just got finished talking about it. Hype is a big thing. And I don't think you can build up as much hype with 5 months as you could with a little bit longer of a time. Let Shadowlands play out for a while. The Classic is so big. There's so much to do. There's always going to be people on there. And you can take that time as well to, you know, maybe shift around servers and whatnot. There, you could, within that time, maybe he'll talk about it a little bit here. Maybe you could start jumping your servers now, like, hey, these are the ones that are going to go on to TBC. These are the ones that are going to remain Classic. So go ahead and transfer your characters the way you want for those that are going to progress forward. Gives you plenty of time if you're like, you know what? I really wanted to play, or I played Warrior in Classic, but I really want to play a mage or something in TBC. You got much longer time to get ready for that and build up for it, and you're just like, oh yeah, this character's going to be this, and I'm going to do this in TBC, and you know, it builds that hype more and more and more and more and more. And by the time you really start getting people tired of Shadowlands, which will inevitably happen, now you've got the real big hype for TBC. I mean, just look at how much hype we got for Classic. We had the announcement, and it didn't come out for, what was it, a whole extra year, maybe a little bit more. I think it was a year. Maybe it was a little less than a year. Maybe it was like 10 months, but 10 minutes, 10 months. I don't have the dates written in front of me, and I always mess up dates, but yeah, I'm getting off track. But anyways, you had that big hype, right? They're going to announce it. They're going to announce it. Holy shit, they just announced it, and now it's not coming out for another year. Do the same thing with TBC. You know, this was just, Classic was just a little over a year now. What, it's been a year and 4 months. Why not mess around with fresh servers? Why not? Well, you know, why not do that now? If you're going to do TBC in May, but you know, there's all sorts of different ways you can go. It's just me personally. I think push it back just a little bit. But yeah, so right now what he's talking about is clearly from just a Classic player position, and you know, there's your dates. Mid-February for a beta. We'll see if I can get into a beta. If I get into a beta, I will stream it. Even though it'll take away a little bit of the magic for me, but you know, then, you know, hey, we're first logging on for the first time. That's why I typically don't like to do betas, but if I can get into a beta, I will. Peter, I am really sad that Classic is kind of gone, but I'm not really as hyped for TBC. I never played the expansion, and I don't know if it's worth playing, so I'm asking for your opinion. Burning Crusade, in my opinion, absolutely, you got to play it. It's awesome, and he's going to go into a little bit more of the expansion. Well, not too big of details, but how they could possibly release it, and I'll talk about that here shortly. But yeah, no, TBC is my absolute favorite. It's like I said, it's the pinnacle of WoW in my opinion. But let's continue the video.
This also means that Classic TBC will have around a 2-month beta hype phase where people can get excited, play the beta, watch the beta on
Needs
Twitch.
to be longer, in my opinion. Not the beta,
talk about
but
it on streams,
hype.
pump out guides, read guides, and people in general can start making their TBC plans, all of which are really important for the success of the game. I mean, look at this. Look at the Classic WoW hype versus the Shadowlands hype here on Google Trends. It's absolutely insane
This is what I was talking about.
Build up can do for a game, right?
Wonder Woman 1984 is a power
go see
punch
Wonder
of a
Woman, by the way.
We need to stop
Go
him.
see that.
Here goes nothing.
Next.
Now let's take a deeper look at each of these points in the leak and break them down. So first and foremost, TBC beta. So as everyone knows, BlizzCon line is February 19th and February
Hold on a
20th
second.
of 2020.
Let me go back to that chart. Are you? There we go. All right. So you see the search term for WoW Classic. You see the search term for WoW Shadowlands, right? WoW Shadowlands is in blue. This is back in October going into... Okay. So, yeah, going into 2019. That's a whole shitload of hype, honestly. And you can see the trend. This all looks natural to me. This looks very mediocre to me. Right there. I don't know if you can see my mouse right there, but it's right on that blue tip. It's like, here's the announcement, and then nobody cares. Everybody's playing Classic. Oh yeah, so Shadowlands, looks interesting. Yay. Whereas this one, oh my god. But I guess that makes sense, right? I guess that makes sense. And I can only imagine what that's going to look like for TBC. In fact, I would be interested to see what the TBC Classic line would be at this point, because people were already talking about TBC Classic right here. So I don't know. Well, TBC Classic's all the way up here. I don't know. Galarak, what's up, man?
Can do for a game, right?
Here's hoping we
Now
don't get
let's
another
take a
commercial.
deeper look at each of these. On
All
the
right,
same
so
day.
BlizzCon.
What exactly will be tested? It's hard
We're
to say.
definitely going to hear
Classic
something at
WoW was in
BlizzCon.
beta. It was only level 1 to level 40. The content was pretty limited. So I highly doubt that all of the TBC content will be available on the TBC beta. Honestly, the TBC beta is likely more of a promotional tool than an actual beta test itself. That's kind of how I look back on the Classic WoW beta, at least. Next up, TBC 2.0 pre-patch. This one is super interesting. The way this is worded, it almost makes it sound as if we will actually have progressive patches where we have proper itemization, talent, and spell adjustments as we progress patch by patch.
So that'll be interesting when they do the pre-patch. Who of you were around for this? Does anybody remember they spawned... It only happened in a few servers. It actually happened in mine. I was on Proudmoore. They spawned... what's his name? He's over in Blasted Lands. Oh my god, what is his name? Kazakh. They spawned him in Ironforge, and he was just laying waste to everybody. I think they spawned him in Stormwind and in some other places too, but yeah, he was laying waste to everybody. And I think that was like the day before the release of TBC. So who knows if they'll actually do that. But pre-patch for April. If the release is May, April 13th or 14th, and then release May, that's a real good time, because they'll say it right here.
Patch through Classic TBC, almost perfectly replicating TBC back in the day, which is something that everyone knows at this point we did not have with Classic Vanilla WoW. That being said, I actually highly doubt this is the case, and I'd bet that this is just a euphemism, meaning this is where we'll get TBC 2.4.3 talents, spells, maybe Draenei Blood Elves, which I think is a smart move, and level 60
So he's guessing right now that at that point, that is when you're going to be able to start leveling up blood elves and what is it, Draenei. And I just realized I forgot to start something on this stream. Hold on a second. I forgot to start this. There we go.
Content, which is
whoops. There, now I can actually start getting alerts if anybody does anything. My bad. That will be really good. That will be really, really good if they do that. Allowing people to level up Draenei, Blood Elves, you know, leveling up their Paladins and Shamans for Alliance and Horde and all that kind of shit. That'll be really smart for them to do, and I hope they do that. What will be interesting is, if you guys remember, it was patch 2.3 when the leveling nerf hit, and I think it was a leveling boost, not boost, but nerf. Basically, you got more XP for the quests and the kills and all that jazz. It was for levels 20 through 60. I don't think it was 1 to 60 at this point. I'm not mistaken. It was levels 20 to 60 were basically boosted. So it'll be interesting. Do they do that for the pre-patch? And at this point, we do not know what they're going to do with the patches. So we'll continue the video. Oh, hold on one second. Jor, you think the timing is spot on? I think so too. I'm hoping not, though. Bots pretty much ruined the game for anyone not buying gold. Dude, yeah, that's a whole other video. Hey, Craig, what's up? Told you my boy Nano was legit. No, dude, you're absolutely right. If you guys are not following Nano on Twitter, go do that. He puts out all the information regarding Classic and TBC Classic and everything else. So, yeah, he's great if you're not following him yet. What's your thoughts on letting Alliance making Shamans in the pre-patch on May 4th? I hope they do that. I think that would be cool. I don't have any issue with it. And I think, and that's what he was kind of addressing right here. I don't think, were you allowed to do Paladin in the pre-patch? I think you were. I think you were back then. I don't fully remember though.
Something that we had for 1 month back when Vanilla transitioned into TBC back in the day, interestingly enough. A lot of people forget that. And I think we'll have, this is a 3-week time period, right? We'll do this while we wait for the Dark Portal to actually open itself and lead us into Outland on May 4th. And the third point of the leak, TBC release date. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this would have Classic TBC releasing around 5 months after Naxxramas releases in Classic WoW, which I think is a perfect amount of time. Having a Classic TBC announced and confirmed and the beta released all at once does an amazing thing for Classic WoW as well. It sort of spiritually ends Classic WoW Phase 6, where you're bored, there's not a lot to do, Naxxramas is kind of annoying and expensive, and there's been a, let's be real, there's been a pretty big player drop-off, and it ushers in the Classic TBC preparation phase, which is overlapping with Phase 6 of Classic WoW, where you can start planning out your approach to TBC, potentially farming materials, farming gold, leveling alts, whatever. It all depends on what restrictions they impose on what you can and can't bring into TBC, and this is my speculation. They would probably give all these details in February at BlizzConline when they announce the beta, right? Now,
that's what I'm really hoping for. I'm really hoping that we do get a lot of those details at BlizzCon, and I'm pretty sure we will absolutely get it. I'm really hoping for not phase content, but actual patch content. But with patch content, there is a potential issue. If you guys remember in patch was it 2.1 when TBC was launched, you had tier 4, 5, and 6 available. But the way they gated you from that was attunements. You know, so you had to get your Shattered Hall's key. Shattered Hall's key. Then you had to get your you had to get all the keys to your main dungeons, Shadow Labs and what was it, Alcatraz and so forth. You had to build up your rep And back then, you had to get your reputation with specific factions up to revered, which was a pain in the butt. Then once you got that, that allowed you some heroics. Now, you didn't need heroic dungeons to get access to tier 4. You just had to do quest chains, like everybody remembers the Karazhan quest chain. And then you could walk into Magtharans, you can walk into Gruuls, and then you could go into Karazhan. But to get into tier 5, that was when you needed heroics. Just a couple of them. Wait, was it? Yeah, I think so. There was like a timing event or something, and then you had to get the Vile Remnant from Kael'thas and Lady Vosh, which meant you had to kill them. So you had to kill them, and then you could get into tier 6. Here's the problem. Nobody can get into tier 6 because Kael'thas was broken. So they had to wait for the nerf to Kael'thas, which I don't think really happened until damn near Black Temple came out. And then people were able to get into tier 6. Okay, so if we have the nerfed Kael'thas, or defeatable Kael'thas, that means technically people could have all the content down within a week. They could potentially do that. Maybe 2 weeks. So if they go the way I want them to, which is patch by patch, we could potentially have that problem. If they do the phased content, we won't have that problem. They could just treat patch 2.1 as phase 1, patch 2.2 as phase 2, and so forth, and bring it out every 4 months or 6 months or however they want to do it. Hopefully they do. Well, there was only 2.1, 2.2, all the way to 2.4. 2.4 was Fury of the Sunwell. So, do you do gated content, or do you do the patch content? Nobody knows yet. And nobody knows, is it going to be based off of 2.1, or is it going to be based off of 2.3 or 4? Most likely 2.4. What is it, 2.4.3? Which had a lot of nerfs. If it has all the nerfs, if they do that, if Blizzard just goes, hey, here you go, TBC Classic, based off of 2.4, everybody's going to walk straight through the content, just like they did with Classic. They're going to go, oh, this is just way too easy. That's why I'm hoping Blizzard, if you're listening, which I doubt you are, please leave everything hard. Please. Don't do the nerfs. I understand the leveling nerf. Don't do the raid nerfs. If Kael'thas was truly undefeatable, then okay, give the nerf version of that, but don't knock them out with the nerf bat. You know what I'm saying? Leave the content hard. That was a problem with Classic. We were talking about it for the longest time, but let's continue.
Now, this is going to lead into the final point I want to make in this video. So let's take a quick look back at some of the surveys that Blizzard has sent out regarding Classic TBC. So in May 2020, Blizzard sent out a survey asking how you as a player would like to transition from Classic WoW into Classic TBC, be it fresh 1 to 70 TBC servers, fresh or progressive servers where your current Classic characters move on into TBC as they did back in the day, or some other similar options. Now, very recently in December 2020, Blizzard sent out a survey. Very interestingly,
I have yet to get a damn survey. Oh, here's another commercial. Everybody go get Cacao Games. Yeah, whatever.
Talking about progressive TBC servers, where you're going to progress from 60 to 70 into TBC, versus fresh Classic WoW servers. So I take this as meaning that we will definitely be progressing our current Classic WoW characters into TBC. Whether or not there will be gold caps or anything like that as we segue into TBC, who knows? We'll hear about it more later probably. But for those of you wanting fresh 1 to 70 TBC, considering the way these surveys have gone and the way they're worded, and the fact that we're getting TBC pre-patch in April, if these leaks are true, it seems unlikely that we will have fresh TBC 1 to 70 anytime soon, maybe down the road, but there is the potential of a Classic fresh at some point in the near future, right? Based off of what we've seen from these surveys. Now, if this all...
Okay, Uh, a fresh 1 to 70 TBC server would absolutely kill me. Those of you that have been with me for a while, you know I'm a casual player. I can only play once to twice a week for 4 hours at a time. It took me, Craig, how long did it take me? It took me 11 months to reach level 60 in Classic. So if they're like, all right, TBC fresh 1 to 70, that would absolutely kill me. So thankfully it looks like they're not going to do that. I wouldn't mind seeing that in the future though, as like an option, you know, a server option. I think that would be kind of cool, but you know, for how I play, yeah, I can't do that. So fresh Classic servers, yes. I was on the private server scene for 6 years. I want to say, like, way back when Phoenix servers became all the rage. My issue was, again, my time. And I was on Phoenix servers, and then I'd get up to like level 55 or something, and then a new server popped up, and everybody jumped ship and went over to that one. And it was a brand new, fresh server. And I was like, okay, I got to jump over there and start leveling again. And I did that probably about 4 times. I think I did Phoenix, and then what was the next one? Light's Hope. I don't remember. Anyways, and then I did Nostalrius and so forth, and it was like back and forth, and it really became annoying. But do not underestimate the Classic community on how much they love fresh. There are so many thousands of players who will drop their level 60s who are in full Nax gear to do it all over again. It is incredible. I don't understand it, but it's incredible. They will do it. Blizzard could keep this crap on a cycle. It'd just be like, yep, fresh. We got a fresh one. I say if you're going to do fresh, though, Blizzard, as much as I was a hashtag no changes, I see now there needs to be some changes. They need to make some adjustments, right? That's been talked about a lot in the Classic forums and videos. A lot of people are talking about it, like how they could change Classic to be even better. They need to do that. If they're going to do fresh servers, they need to do that. Jared, they can't force their players to start over, so don't worry about that. Giving players the fresh option has to be there too, though. Yes, and I think we will absolutely get the fresh option at some point with Classic. It'll be interesting to see how they do that. Do they, what is it, TBC Classic is out, and then they're about to go to Wrath Classic, but then they bring out fresh Classic. How do you do that? But at some point they can do it. Maybe wait until it goes all the way through Wrath, and then fresh Classic with changes, or as Peter says, Classic Plus.
All ends up being the case. This means that in February, with the confirmation of Classic TBC and the info on how we're segueing into TBC, which they will probably talk about, Classic WoW would see a huge player spike. The economy could be turned on its head. Dungeon boosting prices would go through the roof as people are returning to Classic WoW, or perhaps picking Classic WoW for the first time ever in preparation for Classic TBC. So keep this in mind and plan accordingly if you believe these leaks. And personally, I do. So I'm going to make some changes with my personal gameplay. So with all that being said, let me know what you think about all this stuff, guys. This is all very interesting stuff. So going forward, I'm going to be pumping out a lot of TBC videos here on YouTube and daily TBC discussion and prep streams on Twitch. So make sure to subscribe here and follow me there on Twitch.
Right, so,
also make sure to follow.
And let me put this all the way back over to his logo, since that's what we're talking about. Whoops. There. Nice. His pretty logo. So yeah, I'm excited for Burning Crusade. Don't get me wrong when I say this. I am really excited for Burning Crusade. I think it is the absolute best. And if you look at what is on my table right now, oh, you can see through it. Anyways, yeah, I still have that. I still have that. I'm really excited about Burning Crusade. It is the absolute pinnacle of World of Warcraft. It is, in my opinion, my most humble opinion. I just want to see it come out a little bit later. I want the hype to be built up a little bit more. I may have a little bit of bias in that, though. I may have a little bias because if that is the time frame that it actually comes out, I might not be home. I might be off doing training. I might not be able to enjoy it. I might not be able to stream it. It might, that'll suck. So, but yeah, from what he was talking about, from a strict classic player perspective, that's a pretty good time frame. Looking at the big picture, along with Shadowlands being out right now and the hype of that, I think it needs to be spread out a little bit more. So, Peter, what is your opinion of an idea where they had more things to where they add more things to Classic Plus, not just the cut content? So that would, but they would never do that. That takes way too much time. That's basically running 2 MMOs. So they're not going to do that. Would I love to see it? Absolutely. I think that would be really cool. But unfortunately, that just won't happen. Regardless of when it launches, I can't wait to see how high the eBay listings for the TBC Collector Editions. TBC Collector Edition. I wish I had that. Be nice. I wasn't thinking back then. I don't think anybody was thinking there would be a TBC Classic back in 2007. 2007 is when it came out, right? Yeah. I know somebody who has one too, and I think it's in pretty good condition. So hopefully it still is in good condition. I think the cycle I would really like to see, though, is I would like to see TBC Classic, obviously, and then TBC Wrath Classic, and then stop there. People have actually mentioned Cataclysm Classic. No. And then go back and then do like a fresh Classic server to start it over again, but make the changes that are necessary to, like, the whole spell batching. Get rid of that. That's wonky. Nerf those world buffs. Like, all they have to do is, when you zone in, your world buffs are gone. That's all you gotta do. That would be nice. But there's a whole bunch of people who've talked about that. How about the trading card game loot cards? The price on those skyrocketed. Again, see, Jarrett, you're breaking my heart. See, I really wish I would have gone out and collected all this stuff. I never did. God, I would have a fortune. Let's be honest, they couldn't make Shadowlands work on the launch date. I don't want them, the grubby money hands, touching Classic to make Classic Plus. So the good thing, Sean, is we'll never have to worry about it. Classic Plus is a dream that will never happen. They have no interest in running 2 MMOs at all. I don't even want them to do it. Like, I mean, I do. I want them to. I would love for them to do it. It's just, it's like Sean said. You really think Activision's going to really be able to put something good like that together? I don't know. My confidence isn't high. My confidence isn't high on that one at all. So I think what the interesting thing that we need to be looking out for now, I think the most important thing we need to be looking for is, how are they going to do the patches? That is the number one question now. I'm pretty sure that these release dates are accurate, and I'm going to treat them as accurate. Staysafe is a straight up guy. Nano is a straight up guy. It's got Nano's back, and Nano's been right about all this stuff anyway. So yeah, it's probably correct. But how are they going to do the patches? That's the number one question. It's pick your poison, man. It's like I said if they go patch by patch, the problem is people could have the content done within 2 weeks. We're better players now. We know more of the game now. Yeah, TBC is a little more involved, but God, especially if they decide, okay, phase 1 is just all the content that was out in patch 2.1, but we're basing it on 2.4, and you have all the nerfs in, then what else are you looking for coming out? You're looking for Black Temple, which will be a complete walkthrough. Black Temple in patch 2.2 actually stopped a lot of guilds for a while. Like, it was tough. It was really, really tough. And then patch 2.3 happened, got the nerf bat, people walk in there. Oh wait, I think the Black Temple nerf was 2.4. But if it's based off of 2.4, the nerf is already in there, people just walk straight through. And it happened back then. It happened back then. People who were struggling on, like, I don't know, Supremus, couldn't get past Supremus. And then all of a sudden the patch happened, and hey, we got all the way to Illidan the next week, you know? So if they do that, then you have the same issue that you had with Classic WoW. So, yeah, End of Wrath should be Deathwing comes, kills everyone. It kills the server. That would be hilarious. Yeah, just everybody sitting there playing, and then the cinematic for Cataclysm rolls out. And then it's all server off. That would be funny. Peter, hey, thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate it. Were you the one who talked about heroic dungeon keys from Honored to Revered? I think stuff like that is a start. Releasing raids like they did with Classic is the best option, in my opinion. Yes, Jared, yes, I am the one that said that. I think, you know, if TBC Classic is going to be something that just, it starts and it remains, I don't think you have any kind of catch-up that you need to do. So, reducing the requirement to go from Revered to Honored to get your heroic keys as a catch-up, I don't think you need that in place anymore. TBC is just always going to be there. Nobody needs to catch up to anything. They'll get there when they get there. TBC had a very different format because of that, because of all the attunements. You had to follow certain paths in order to unlock the next levels. It's like the games of old. You know, you had to defeat this level in order to get to level 2, and then to level 3, and then to level 4, and so forth, right? You could look at it like the old games way back, Sega Genesis days, Nintendo days, stuff like that. TBC is, you can look at it very similar to that. You had to graduate. I got to level 70. Now I got to heroics, and I downed my heroics, and now I got to go into tier 4 raid, and I defeated the tier 4 raids. Now I can go to tier 5, and so forth. It's not like vanilla WoW, which was really kind of a grand experiment of MMO making, of great MMO making. And it was like, okay, here's our content, we're going to release it. We have a couple raids. We have Molten Core, which we made in about a week. Go have fun. And then, okay, we were working on some other content. Let's go ahead and start releasing that. And that kind of became tier 2. And you know what I'm saying? It's a little different. You can do the phased content makes sense, in my opinion, in WoW Classic. It does not make as much sense in TBC because of the way TBC was delivered to us, right? So it's very much a graduating game, very much a graduating expansion. Split up the patches so that they only realize one raid at a time, but decrease the wait between patches. So you're talking about, okay, let me see if I can follow that. So phase one would be, or patch, phase one would be patch 2.1, but you could only get into tier 4 raids. But so you can complete it all. You can complete all your tasks to get into tier. So would the quest be available for tier 5? Meaning the ending quest? So you complete all those, and it's just like, okay, this person doesn't have the next quest, or maybe he does. You can get it, but you just can't complete it because you can't go inside Serpent Shrine or something. I think that's what you're talking about. Did you put that t-shirt on because you were going to stream, or were you already wearing it? So, yes. I wear this a lot when I stream just because I love this shirt, right? So it's the social distance training since 2004. I can't there. Well, it says 4, right? Yes, I did put it on because I was going to stream, and I hadn't worn it in a while. It fits nice. Come on, I'm comfortable. Kara Gruel Mag 1 patch, SSC 2nd, TK 3rd. Okay, so if you did that though, so you'll have the what do they call that? The it's this Sands of Time quest. It's the one where you have to. It's one quest where you have to get both Vile Remnants. So if you split up SSC and TK, because those are both tier 5, it's the attunement quest in order to get into Mount Hyjal, which was available in 2.1. So now you're talking about splitting up quest. Do you have that and you just can't get into TK? Do you not have that quest? I think when you start doing that, you start like that's very minor and it's solvable. But there might be other issues that I'm not even thinking about right now that would need to be addressed if you do kind of split it up that way. That's what I'm saying. That's what I would like to see. Patch 2.1, and then phase 2 would be patch 2.2, and so forth. It just simplifies it, and it gives us the content the way it was back then. It leaves the stuff difficult as it was back then. So that's just what I'm worried about. That's my main worry, is the fact that when you do start to make the little changes, it's almost like a snowball effect. And even gosh, even with Vanilla WoW or Vanilla Classic, I think that's what we're going to start calling it now, Vanilla Classic. No changes was its own snowball effect. And that was just simply because the player base has changed. We're all older. We all have, we've had private servers for, 6, 7, 8 years to test all this stuff and just get really good. And then we got a nerfed version. I don't know. So, TBC had a lot of those issues naturally fixed. So, I'm still right now going to sit, even though I know the possible issue of being able to clear the content within 1 or 2 weeks. I still feel like it needs to remain roughly the same. If they give it to us as patch 2.1, they give us patch 2.1, but it's based off of 2.4. I'm totally against that, because that's how it's going to be, just super easy, and you'll have people just blow through it. If you don't have it based off of 2.4, you're going to have a better time at it. It's going to be a little more difficult. You're going to have a lot more fun. But that also assumes, does Blizzard or Activision still have the data for patches 2.0, 2.2, or 2.1, 2.2, and so forth? Based off of this video, we're getting a pre-patch 2.0. That kind of tells me that they do. So if they do, please give it to us as 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, and so forth, all the way to 2.4. That's why we got 12. I'm sorry, that's why we got 1.12 for Classic, because they didn't have 1.9 and so forth. That's why. The problem they had making Vanilla Classic was that the only backup they had. Oh yeah, okay, so yeah, that was exactly what I just stated. Yeah, if Classic had patches 1.1, 1.2, didn't it release with 1.3? It was 1.2. If they had that, I would have hoped that they would have done it that way. But yeah, we got the phased content because of that exact reason. 87. So you're spot on about that. 2.4.3 talents should be a thing. Pally tanks needed some TLC in the talent trees, which came later. They got the love in 2.3, wasn't it? I don't remember them getting the love in 2.4. I thought it was 2.3. There was patch 2.3 was such a radical shift in TBC. Go look at those patch notes, man. It is long. It is a long laundry list. I don't think they need it though, Greg. I honestly don't think they need it in the earlier ones. There was something so great about TBC when it came out in those early patches, and it went through all the rest, but I used to love when I was in my guild, I was the main tank, and I had my Pally off tank. I had another warrior tank in case there were, like, I'm trying to think of certain fights, like King Mulgar or something. But anyways, there was there's a fight in Serpent Shrine. The big giant dude. You had your main tank pull him up against the wall, and then he had all the Murlocs come, right? And I would just have my Paladin tank right there, just mass AoE threat, and it was just cool. The dynamics of that were just really awesome. I don't remember them really needing too much, but then again, I never really played Paladin. Yeah. Tidewalker, yeah, that's who it was. I love that your name is Bad Tank and you're like Tidewalker. That's perfect. That's perfect. I'm a priest healer. I'm a priest healer ring leveling a mage for. Oh, you're priest healer. Okay, there we go. Leveling a mage for TBC. So yeah, so you're gonna love the 2.0. Pre-patch that they're going to be doing. That'll give you some time to level up, at least get to 58, so you can get to Outlands. It is really difficult to achieve the balance between changes and no changes without making the player base mad. No matter what, you're going to make the player base mad. Whenever you're doing something like this, you just have to have a plan and go for it, which is what they did with Vanilla. Like they told us, or WoW Classic, Vanilla Classic. They told us right from the get-go. They're like, we're a fan of no changes. We want this to be the spirit of Classic, so we're going to give it as best as we can, as close as we can. It came with its own problems. I think they'll right that wrong if they do a fresh Classic release with the changes that the player base is talking about. A whole bunch of people were talking about it, so they know what needs to be addressed if they do fresh servers. And I think that needs to happen if they do a fresh server. But no matter what, you're going to piss off somebody, and you have to be okay with that. It's absolutely impossible, no matter what it is that you're doing, no matter if you're talking about World of Warcraft, if you're talking about something at work, if you're talking about politics, if you're talking about whatever, you're going to piss off somebody. That's the world we live in. We're all individuals. So just hopefully they do their best with it. If TBC comes, does the server get wiped? I don't know. They're not going to do that. I think what he said that they're going to be doing is you're going to have an option. They're going to, I guess at some point they're going to announce In fact, I even think they said that the servers that we're on right now are going to go to TBC, and then they're going to have servers that remain 60. So, like, I guess you can, I might have that backwards. You're either transferring your tune over to a server that is going to move on to Classic, or you're going to have the option to move your tune off of this realm and to a permanent 60. Does that make sense? That's what they're looking to do. With Blizzard being money hungry thugs, do you think when we get to Wrath, we will have to rebuy the store mounts? No, but we will have a bunch of plushies. We'll have to buy. I don't know. Did TBC have any store mounts? I don't think they did. I don't think we're gonna have to worry about that until, I think it was Wrath. Think about that one. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was Wrath. I don't remember having to purchase anything in TBC. Everything in TBC I had to frickin' earn. That's why I absolutely loved TBC so much. I gotta wrap this up in just a few more minutes, guys, and ladies, if any of you are watching, because I gotta go pick up my daughter. So I kind of want to close this out. Be sure you take a look at this video, give him a like, and stay tuned to either my Twitter, which I should have a link below in the description if you're watching on YouTube, where my Twitter is if you're on Twitter. And next week I'm going to start streaming again, although it's going to be probably once a week, because I am so focused right now on creating TBC Classic videos. I'm about to start releasing them. I'm finishing up probably my longest video ever. I think it's like 17 minutes, 18 minutes. And it's basically an introductory guide to Burning Crusade. It's not taking into consideration like patches and how all that's going. No, I'm not talking about that stuff in this video. I'm specifically designing this video for those who have either not played TBC or who are just completely new to the whole Classic experience or whatever, or maybe haven't played TBC since 2007, December 16th. I don't know. And just need a refresher. That's what it's for. And that's what most of my content on my channel is really for. There are people a whole hell of a lot smarter than me that can crunch numbers and tell you this is exactly what you need to be able to play your class or whatever to the absolute best potential that you can, right? So I focus on other things, kind of just guides of the game. I will have faction reputation videos coming out. In fact, those are all done. Kind of showing you basically what's the fastest way to level them, what are they all about, what can you get from them, and so forth. Every single faction. What else am I working on? Jewel crafting video I'm working on. Going from 1 to 375. There's a couple others. I'm probably going to do some dungeon guides as well. Just as much as I can until I really start getting busy. As I mentioned before, I might be going off to training here for quite a while, and then my whole job might be changing around a little bit. I mean, we'll see how much time I have, but I'm trying to get as much of it done for you guys as possible. Sean, what did you say? Wasn't there a girl that had sex with a guy with? Yeah, there was. Who was it? It was either Mad Season Show or Platinum WoW who reminded us of that. I was like, oh my god, I totally forgot about that. So anyways, hey, I want to thank you guys, every single one of you, for stopping by. Really appreciate it. I know I said I wasn't going to stream again in 2020, but here I am. Wife is working. I had some time. This came out, and this is the quickest way to kind of talk about it, get my opinion out there. So I really appreciate you guys. for stopping by. Have a great New Year's. Hope you had a good Christmas. If anybody is having a birthday, happy birthday. Yeah, and as the stupid dad joke it is, I will see you guys next year. See you later. Once I can find the button. Oh, there it is.